Hello and welcome to another comic review. I am Jesse and I'm joined by TFG1 Mike from geekcastradio.com.
That's right.
And today we're going to be discussing not one, but two Transformer comics. That's how far behind we are. So first up, Transformers number 2 by Daniel Warren Johnson, Mike Spicer, and Russ Wooten. Right? That's why we agreed
Yep,
to how you
that's
say his
yep,
name?
yep, yep.
Okay. All right, a quick synopsis from ImageComics.com. The Smash series continues. The Decepticons have been unleashed as Optimus Prime and Autobots regroup. Starscream terrorizes humanity. This issue features a surprising first Energon universe appearance. Dun dun dun.
Mm-hmm.
So my quick rundown is going to spoil that appearance.
So look, folks, we know there's going to be spoilers in this because it's no fun. Look, I've been doing comic reviews for 10 and a half, 11 years. Trying to be spoiler free is time consuming, brain draining. Like, no. These issues have been out for at least 2 months. The issue number 4 is coming out like next week as of the sound of my voice. If you haven't read this by now, that's your own goddamn fault. I'm sorry to curse. I'm not trying, whatever, but like spoilers. Just spoiler.
Yep. So if you listen to any of these going forward, just assume we're going to spoil. So
yeah.
So we open with Optimus taking in nature, who accidentally steps on a deer. Oops. He realizes just how fragile the planet Earth is. Optimus sits with Spike to deliver some exposition and backstory on who and what the Transformers are. Here we get 2 shots of Megatron, but again, no mention of his name. The Autobots have regrouped at the quarry or factory from the first issue, where Ratchet is attempting to fix more of the Autobots, but indicates that they are out of Energon. Cue another attempt by Prime to use the Matrix, who is then stopped by Ratchet.
Yeah.
Back at the power plant from the ending of issue number 1, the Decepticons attack and tap into the power supply to generate Energon. Soundwave detects an incoming human jet, and Starscream takes off to intercept. Starscream is successful in destroying the jet and one of its pilots, but the co-pilot manages to escape, and this is the spoiler. We learn that this is Duke from G.I. Joe.
Yep.
Seeing the attack in the distance, the Autobots roll out towards the power plant. Carly states she needs to find her parents and heads home in her van. Upon arrival, she sees Sparkplug there, dressed in his army fatigues and battle ready. So what are your overall thoughts on issue number 2?
Oh, boy. I love how they show him, but they don't say his name. Because, it's a tease. This is the backstory. Everybody who reads again, we'll get to the violence later, but I mean, he's choking him. Like anybody who's reading this that's at least our age or older knows who the gray guy is choking the red truck. Like, we know, we get it. So I like that they actually don't say his name. I love the beginning with Optimus and the deer because it's just an innocent kind of thing, and he realizes, oh crap, I think that's cool. I like his interactions with Spike. I love the art. I'm going to say this every single time we do one of these things. The art in this is just absolutely fantastic. It really, really is. And Optimus has like lots of great face shots in this issue. If you look through the guided view, there are several of the panels that get close-up shots, and it's just like, holy crap. And I think my favorite one is once Skywarp makes his appearance, and we have the battle between them. And my favorite one is it, where is it? It's, it's when Optimus transforms, and is it in the? No, maybe it's in the next issue. There's
issue,
yeah, it's the next issue. Anyway, I'll get to that. But yeah, no, I like this. I still want to know what timeline this is, as far as like what year, because we still have the army fatigues, and we still have this like. Did Nam just end? Is this in the middle of the 70s, or is this early 80s like it normally is in most every other incarnation of Transformers? Because not that I have an issue with the military stuff, because, hello, I love that Sparkplug is a part of them. Like, I love that Sparkplug isn't just a construction worker or whatever worker he was in the original cartoon series, wearing those, yellow hats and blue jeans and yellow boots and all that. Like, I love that they're giving the whole thing a whole new aspect of it. And Cliff Jumper is just fun.
Yep.
Cliff Jumper is just absolutely fun, and I can hear Casey's voice coming out of him. Oh
Yeah,
man.
I think the sort of the relationship that seems to kind of be starting here
Mm-hmm.
between him and Carly is something that's going to continue. Where it seems
Mm-hmm.
like maybe we won't get that Bumblebee Spike relationship.
Maybe not. Who knows? But yeah, no. This second issue, I'm all in on these because this is good. This is really damn good.
Yeah, I want to echo what you said about the art. I mean, the art is fantastic. Over, let's see, what was it earlier this month? I guess, or sorry, earlier last month. So we're
Mm-hmm.
recording this on January 7th. So
Yep.
earlier in December, the Duke comic came out. So
Yep.
Duke number 1. I was telling Mike that I'm not a big fan of the artwork in that at all. But this, like, it's like every single panel on the pages is just it looks gritty, and I like that
Yeah.
style,
Yeah.
and it's highly detailed,
Yep.
and I think it just looks great.
Yeah, it does. And I have not read Duke yet. I need to. I need to get to it. I am so far behind in stuff, so it's going to be a bit before I can get to Duke. But it's one of those things where this, and I understand, like between Mr. Spicer, between Mr. Johnson, and all that, and everything else between them, and being with Daniel doing the writing and the main drawing, and then Mike Spicer doing the colors. The lines in this, the colors in this, like I said, are also great. What I see this as is they are making they grew up with the cartoon. We've seen interviews, we've heard interviews with Daniel Warren Johnson where he grew up watching the cartoon just like we did. The cartoon, the original Generation 1 cartoon, for those that don't know, who haven't been alive for the past 40 years or so, uh, it's got some violence in it, but not a lot. And this to me is basically the G1 cartoon style, just a bit more violent. And who knows what they're going to do with the story because it's not exactly like I said. Putting Sparkplug as a Marine or a military member or whatever branch they're in, Army, I don't know, but putting him as a soldier versus a construction worker or a dam worker or whatever the hell he was in the old cartoon, that's a story change, and that's fine. I like that. I like that there's stakes to this. I like that there's different, like, Skywarp hasn't seen this much action in a long ass time. Like, I mean, Skywarp has seen action in the last 40 years, but you look at the original again, comparing it to the original cartoon because that's whatever. Uh, like he had a few out of the 98 episodes. Like maybe I'm just guessing here. Skywarp as a spotlight character maybe had 15 spotlight like where he's directly like where he's basically in it, whether it's him and Thundercracker together or if it's him on his own. I would say he's only had like between 10 and 15 of the 98 episodes of the cartoon. So I love that Skywarp is one of the main characters. I think that's super cool. I'm very interested to see what else they do with him. And I like that the struggle for the Autobots is they don't know where to get the energon or how to make the energon, and the only ones that are awake, as far as I can remember from looking at this, is Optimus, Cliffjumper, Ratchet. Those are the three that are awake. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But
Yeah, I mean, we had Bumblebee, but
yeah, we had Bumblebee, but he's dead.
right,
That's the thing. That's why you're not going to see Spike and Bumblebee. You're going to see Carly and Cliffjumper because Bumblebee dead.
right.
Like that. As much as I compare it to this ain't your daddy's G1, folks. It just isn't. It's and I don't because again these creators are making this for us. They're not, and they're making it for themselves, really, but they're making it for those of us who are the fans, the ones that grew up with it, the ones that know the characters, but we don't know them as how Daniel Warren Johnson is going to tell the story here. But I mean, Optimus, you see in that very first page, he realizes, oh crap, this is not a metallic planet that I can just stomp around on. This has got flesh things and death, and Optimus has always been I don't want to say stoic, but he's always been a empathetic character to the plight of others, and he will put others above himself all of the time. He will always be that caring kind of thing, and I think that's what they're showing here at the beginning of this issue. So overall, I'm digging this, man. It's fun.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. This seems to really be geared towards those of us who grew up in the '80s with the original cartoon. I I'm assuming this is really the only outlet they have that Hasbro has to really kind of tell these types of stories. But if we look at the cartoons, I don't even know what the hell the current cartoon series is. I don't know what
Earth
it's
Spark,
on.
Earth Spark on Nickelodeon.
But that's geared towards a much younger audience, right?
Yeah, it
At least that
is.
would be my assumption based on looking at the toys that I see on the shelves. I mean, like these
Yeah,
are like really simple toys.
yeah.
So if they're not going to be, if they're not going to look to like a Netflix or something to create like a more mature, have a more an outlet for more mature storytelling, then I think the
Mhm.
comics is like the absolute best way to do that.
The comics has always been the best. Like, I mean, look, I love most of the US based cartoons. There are things I don't like about each one of them, but like between G1, Beast Wars, Beast Machines, Animated, Prime, those are the mains that I can remember off the top of my head. They all have varying things, but Hasbro at this point, and this is my personal opinion, because I don't work there, I don't know the inner workings or anything like that, they have to find a way to mix between getting new kids in, getting kids that were our age 40 years ago now into the brand, and then keeping us into the brand. So having like, and the Netflix thing, did you see any of those three series? Did you watch Earthrise, whatever the three, Earthrise Kingdom, and I forget what the other one was called.
So I saw clips. I did not watch the series.
Okay. Well, I did. It was good ish. It was okay. It was serviceable. It wasn't gangbusters for me. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is the next big thing, because Netflix only gave them 18 episodes or whatever. Like, it was three 6 episode arcs for Siege. That's what the first one was called: Siege, Earthrise, and Kingdom. So they got 18 total episodes. And I get it. The current model of TV watching and streaming and all that is like, ooh, short bursts of. No, I miss 26 episode seasons of animation. I miss 52 episodes, whatever kind of thing, 65 syndication, whatever. But like, I think the comics for Transformers is our way for us, for the fans, because have such a finite time. Like in those episodes are like, I think they're 22 minutes apiece. So 18 episodes times 22 minutes, etc., whatever. I don't do math, folks. And like that was fine. But before that, we had like these 10-minute short things or 11-minute short things in the Machinima series stuff that they did, and it was okay. But again, my point is, streaming, movies, cartoons, all that. Apparently, there's a finite time, and yes, comics have a finite time too. But comics, especially if they sell well, you can go for 50, 60 issues. In 50 or 60 issues, you can tell a bunch of amazing stories. We're only in the second issue at this point of this discussion, and I can see this going for a long ass time, and I hope it does.
Yeah, so I guess I do have a question there, but I'll get to that in just a second here. I just wanted to touch on a few more things. So
Hmm.
you were kind of questioning kind of where we're at in the timeline here.
Yep.
Um, Originally, from issue one, we thought maybe the '80s, just kind of based on the way things looked, based on the
Hmm.
fact that we're dealing with like Sunbow designs, spikes reminiscent of Marty from Back to the Future.
Yep.
We look at Carly's van and just kind of what's painted on there. But
Yep.
then they also talked about the internet, which kind of confused us.
Yeah.
So I actually talked with someone, or I guess briefly chatted with someone on Blue Sky about that,
Hmm.
and their assumption was, because they were also talking about issue number one. Their assumption was that maybe they're just taking some of those aspects from the different timelines of Transformers that we're aware of and just kind of weaving them into this. So it's still kind of nebulous as to what
Yeah.
exactly the timeline is, which I guess would
Yeah.
make sense to me.
And that's
Um,
fine.
but
Yeah.
it really feels like the '80s. But again, there's mention and talk of the internet, so
I mean, my biggest issue with the time has nothing to do with the. You could put the Transformers in the '80s, the '90s, the 2000s. It doesn't matter. Yes, technically G1, 1984, all that. My issue with the timeline is the aspect of the Vietnam War ending, which was in the '70s. going
Right.
into the 80s. That's where my issue with the time is. That's where I want to know what is the specific timeline. It has nothing to do with the Transformers. It has to do with the military and all that, and obviously bringing GI Joe in and everything else. So that's where my question lies, and I guess I'm gonna have to start asking questions on social media.
Yeah, I think just based on what we're assuming Spike's age is, this has
Mm-hmm.
to take place, sometime later than the 80s
Yeah.
because he's almost graduating high school, right? He was going to go off to college, talking
Yep.
about going off to college in issue 1, so it's got to be sometime after the 80s.
Yeah. I guess.
What else was I going to say about this issue? Oh yes, the violence.
Yes, the violence.
So in this issue, as you were talking, I was just counting this up. I see 3 different deaths of humans by the hands and or feet of Starscream.
Yep.
So on page 13 here, he steps on a police car, which has 2 policemen, and then just squishes them. We see an arm kind of hang out from his foot. And then on page 17 here, we see him squish the pilot from the jet that he intercepts. And then this is
Yep.
also where we see Duke kind of escape and take off in a rocket bag.
Yep.
So quite violent, way more violent than the cartoon.
Yes, way more violent than the cartoon. And again, I get it. It's not. I hate repeating that. It's not your daddy's Transformers. It's not. It's G1, but it's not G1. It's G1 for the modern age for the people that can like. I would not hand this to someone under 18 because I think personally this is like video games have the ESRB. This would be M rated for me. This would be a mature comic for me. I would not hand this to a child whatsoever
Yeah,
at all.
yeah. I think with like if we all we had was like him squishing them, and you
Mm-hmm.
didn't see any blood, I would
Yeah.
it would probably fall within like a PG-13. But with the amount of blood
May,
we saw in like issue
yeah. Oh
number
yeah.
1,
Yeah. Yeah. No. 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 Yeah.
yeah, I think I agree with you that this would be like a mature rated or like an R-rated
Yeah.
type
And
picture.
again, that's okay because I know again, Image Comics under Skybound under Image Comics. I know at some point Skybound is going to put out a kitty version or some other separate version from the something that isn't in the Energon universe. It's the Energon universe is for the adults. They're going to do something else most likely down the line after I mean we've got multiple reprints, so this is making them money, so they're going to want to make more money, and the easiest way for them to make money when the cartoons aren't on is to put it into the comics. I mean, we had 2 different kids style, yeah, because Rid 2015 got a comic, and then something else got a comic under IDW that was directly for children. So I can see them making a separate series outside of all of this just for kids. And who knows, maybe what they'll do is currently with Earthspark being the new hotness for the cartoons, maybe they'll do Earthspark comics. Maybe they'll take those characters and adapt them and do new stories in the comics in addition to whatever they're doing in the cartoon on Nickelodeon.
Okay, I've got one final question for you regarding this
Okay.
issue. Um,
Yes.
so at the end here, I was a little confused. So Carly is racing home in her van to figure out or to find her parents.
Yep.
We see Sparkplug enter what I presume is his own house because he's asking Spike, "Are you home?"
Yeah.
He opens up a chest, right? He's getting out his guns, getting out his
Hmm.
army fatigues. On the very last page here, we see Carly, presumably at her house because she's running inside and she yells out "Dad" with a question,
Yeah.
and we see that Sparkplug's in there and is like grabbing her
Yeah.
to essentially kind of protect her.
Yeah.
So I was confused as to why Sparkplug is there. Was he
Okay, so let me see
because if
here.
you look at the exterior, like both houses are the same color.
Yep. Yeah, so let's see. Are they this?
Yeah,
Oh,
they're both
yeah, they're
green.
both this. Yeah, they're both green. Okay, both green with a white door. So I think it's. Let's see, Spike. Spike, are you home? Da, 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 da. I think it's a thing where I'm looking here. I'm looking. Let's see. Oh no, it is. Yeah, it is Spike's house. It's not. Well, wait a minute, because that there's the photo. Shh. Mm,
Okay, I think I see what it is. So if you look on the second to last page where Sparkplug is running into the house, it says
right.
he's saying Spike. You see how the windows are on the left hand side,
Yep.
and then on the very next panel there, it shows
Mhm.
shows him coming in the door, and you've got the windows to the right, so they're kind of in the forefront.
Yep.
If you go to the very last page here, when Carly's running in, that's the opposite. It's got the windows on the right, door on the left.
Yep.
So it looks like it's probably a very similar home. So probably in a subdivision with very similar builds. Looks like it's just kind of
Yeah.
reversed.
Yeah. It's probably they're just neighbors, most likely. And that's fine. What I was going to say was, I think with Sparkplug saying, Spike, are you home? Maybe what had happened was Carly thought her dad was with Sparkplug no matter where Sparkplug is. And but then there's the photo at the very end of her and her dad. So I'm
Yep.
like, wait a minute, whose house is this?
Yep.
Whose house? Ron's house. God. So yeah, I don't know.
All right. So I think in talking through that just now with you, I think they're just very similar houses.
Yeah, probably.
Not exactly the same. So all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess overall I really enjoyed this issue. A lot of action, a lot of death, a lot of
Yes,
violence.
lot of violence.
And I think we're starting to see the groundwork here for a relationship between Cliffjumper and
Mhm.
Carly. Anything else to say on issue two?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, similar to issue one, issue two also sold out, and it went back for a second print on that was apparently released on December 20th.
Yep.
There will be another print. And we'll talk about that here shortly. But
Yep.
moving on to Transformers number three, also by Daniel Warren Johnson, Mike Spicer, and Russ Wooten. So again, the quick synopsis from ImageComics.com: the biggest launch of the year continues here. Outnumbered and overpowered, it's time for the Autobots to stand their ground as Optimus Prime goes toe to toe with Skywarp. So
Mhm.
my quick rundown: we open with Sparkplug telling Carly what happened to her dad as Laserbeak crashes through the house to attack them. Cliffjumper shows up just in time to take him out, but fearing all Transformers, Sparkplug shoots Cliffjumper and leaves the house with Carly. Which, by the way, his police car looks very familiar.
Yes, yes, it does.
Sparkplug and Carly arrive back at the VFW, where other war vets have taken up arms to protect themselves from the Transformers. Skywarp arrives at the VFW and begins attacking the humans, but is run down by Optimus, who then transforms, and an all-out battle ensues. During battle, the humans open fire on the Transformers, and Spike gets caught up in the crossfire. Optimus goes primal, rips off his own arm, and uses it as a club to smash Skywarp, seemingly to death. Sparkplug breaks out into tears as he talks to Optimus, who proclaims that he will save his son.
Yep.
So, overall thoughts and reviews on number three.
Holy crap! It just keeps getting better and better, better, and yeah. So I'm wondering: is that police car? Is that Prowl or is that Barricade?
Well, I was assuming Prowl, but
Yeah, no, I know, but like it just like
or at the very least, if we're not getting a Prowl, I think it was just a nice nod to the fact that
yeah,
right,
no,
it looks like
absolutely.
Prowl.
Yeah, it looks like Prowl. Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, again, dealing with death and dealing with emotions of loss and everything else. I love that. I think that's great. And then Laserbeak doing what Laserbeak always does. Just absolutely love that. And Cliffjumper, like you said, Cliffjumper and Carly there, the new team most likely. I love the page with Starscream and Soundwave. That is so cool because after all, Soundwave's on the cover of this issue.
Yep.
So I'm loving that. I can't wait to see more with Soundwave because Soundwave's always been one of my favorites.
We also, by the way, on that page, if this is the page you're talking about, we
Mhm.
get the first mention of the name Megatron.
Yep,
And then Soundwave gets bitch slaps.
yep, that's right. He says it. Megatron would have black. Nope, don't say that name. Shut up.
I mean, I like that the action word written here is slap.
Yep, yep. I yeah, like I like that, but I this is why I need more see more characterization from Soundwave in future issues because I don't think Soundwave would have taken that from Starscream. I don't think Soundwave would have taken Starscream slapping him. He might have, just taken Starscream saying, "Don't say his name," and not assaulting him. But I think Look what happened with Soundwave in the movie. Like, I mean, the the Constructicons unite, and all of a sudden, Soundwave's like, "Nope, get the tapes out." Like, I like
But
seriously.
but
I
he
don't
ultimately
think
did give in to Starscream.
he did. Yes, but like I don't know. I just don't think personally. I don't think Soundwave would have taken Starscream bitch slapping him because that's what happens here. But yeah. So we get that, and like you said, the Optimus Skywarp fight going primal, getting beastly in the G1 cartoon or comic. Oh boy, ripping his own arm off. Jesus.
Yeah, I mean when that fight starts, right when Skywarp shows up to the VFW, even before
Hmm.
Prime gets there, I don't know
Hmm.
how many more humans are killed at that point. We see Skywarp kicking a couple of them,
Yes.
which I imagine would kind of kill them like on impact. But
Yep.
uh, I don't think there's too much blood in this one until we get to the end where Spike gets
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah. Yeah. No. And then my where is it? Is it the next? Yeah. The very literally the very next page. So after Skywarp says protect him, ha ha ha, cool. The very next page is my favorite panel. Is Optimus Prime full truck mode, just smashing right into Skywarp's stomach. I love
I mean,
that.
that is a fantastic piece of artwork.
Yes, it is. That's amazing.
I mean, if, just look at Skywarp's face kind of resting on top of the truck.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it's pretty much like like I said, Optimus's windshield is basically into his chest, and his chin is basically on the top of the cab. And Optimus says, and I can hear it in Peter Cullen's voice, "Get away from them." But yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite shot out of both of these issues, out of 2 and 3, is that right there because that was cool.
On the next set of pages, there are a couple of things on here I like. We actually get to see Skywarp do some teleportation,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
which we saw a few times in the G1 cartoon, but not often.
Not often, yeah, but we saw it a few times.
And then we see essentially Optimus going like WWF here, WWF
Mm-hmm.
style on Skywarp.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's so great. And again, the action, the way, like, I mean, yeah, the so after the page, after the second page 14. There's a panel where, like you said, he's going WWF. So he's picking him up over his head and then throwing him, and just the the shot of him of Optimus throwing Skywarp. That's just amazing.
yeah, and then it's like he like swings him around and does like a body slam,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. And then we see his Energon axe.
Oh, I know. Okay, no wonder it's Daniel Warren Johnson. Do a power bomb was his biggest thing. So wrestling, okay, I get it. He's super into wrestling. No, I'm fine with it. But like now that you're saying this, I'm looking at the full page. I'm like, oh right, he did body slam him.
Yep.
You know, okay, got it. Uh
Or
huh.
I guess technically that is a power bomb. Yes, it's just kind of a awkward
Yeah,
looking
it's
power
an
bomb.
awkward looking power bomb. It's fine. It still looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
All right, so what do you think of Prime ripping his own arm off?
I mean, I hope we get a weird gun attachment in the fourth issue to kind of tribute the old episode of having his arm on top of the building with the gun. But yeah, I don't know about that. Ripping your own arm off, Optimus. You guys don't have much energon, if any at all. Like, how are you going to replace your arm?
Well, so my question I have for you is, do you think he actually killed Skywarp? Because we get a couple of beatings there, I guess, and then
Yep.
there's like two loud booms, and then we
Yep.
see Prime standing above Skywarp, who's just laying there motionless. Do you think he's dead?
I so I know Skywarp, as far as the promotional stuff, was part of the characters and the team that Daniel Warren Johnson wanted to use in the comic. Now, how long any of those team members actually last is another story. But yeah, let's see. He slams him down. Let's see. I don't know.
I mean, right below that, right, the two paints right below that, we see Spike laying there, who looks very similar to the deer. We know the deer's dead.
Yeah,
Spike isn't dead yet.
not
Um,
yet.
but
Close.
Skywarp's also
Not yet.
laying in like a different position. So I would think
Yeah,
if he's actually dead, they would have kind of shown a very similar panel. But I think maybe he may still be okay.
maybe.
He might
Who
have a headache
knows?
afterwards, but
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, you're right. I am not sure though. We'll just have to wait and see.
So on the last panel here, right, or last page, sorry,
Hmm?
we get Sparkplug, who I'm gonna guess is gonna go along with Prime,
Yeah.
and kind of, and that's kind of where he's gonna kind of see that the Autobots are actually good, not bad.
Yep.
Kind of start to form a relationship there. My question to
Hmm.
you is Optimus going to use the Matrix of Leadership now on Spike?
I hope not. I don't think that's how that works.
Well,
I
so
could be
I
wrong,
was
but
thinking about this, right? And in the Return of Optimus Prime Part Two, I mean, it did help remove the hate plague on organic people.
that's true. But that was removing something from, that was curing them of something that wasn't okay. That was curing them of something they were infected with. That was not bringing them back from death. I don't know if the Matrix. I mean, I know the Matrix is all powerful and everything else, but I don't know if it's that powerful for humans. For Autobots and whatever, yeah, sure, we can bring back Optimus Prime and turn him white anytime. So
Well, I think this is the first issue, right? I mean, there's only three issues, but I think this is the first one where we did not get a reference to, oh, let me use the Matrix.
yeah, yep,
But I'm glad that it showed up in issue two again as a recurring. I still
yeah.
think it's a joke. I think they're putting in there as a joke, but
You never know. Yeah, I'm not putting anything past these people.
so overall, I think this is a great first three issue arc. I'm
Yep.
very curious to see what happens next. I guess I presume there's more issues within this arc here. I don't know
Yeah.
when
So
the arc
again,
itself is going to end.
I think if I remember correctly, the arc.
Is it 5 or 6?
I think I think that's what they're going with is 6.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what they're going with. I'll have to bring up the March solicitations to see, but
Well, while you're doing that, so similar to issue number one and two, issue three also sold out. All first three issues are receiving yet another printing that's set to be released this month, the month that we're recording, so January of 2023 or
yep,
2024. Sorry,
24.
it's set to be released on January 24th. So if you did not pick this up from the first or second printings, you've got yet another chance to pick these up. And then obviously you can always get them digitally anytime. So
So yes, Skybound's Transformers comic solicitations for March 2024. I remember we talked about this last time. Transformers number 6 is end of story arc. One will
okay,
stand, one will fall.
yep, and that's
So,
when
and that's when
Void
Blood
Rival
Rival
starts again, right?
number 7 starts up.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. So
So one other question for you. Am I?
yes,
I thought I read this. Maybe I'm incorrect. Is Daniel Warren Johnson? Is he only writing this first uh,
I
series of comics?
mm, I'm not sure.
I
I
thought he was
don't.
going to continue on as the artist, but I
Yeah,
think the writer is going to change. I thought I read that. Maybe I'm incorrect on that. And if that's the case, I will say that's a shame because so far really enjoyed the writing.
yeah,
As long as he remains on as artist, the artwork is fantastic. Like I said, very gritty. It's got a very realistic type feel
yeah.
to it. But yeah, I thought he was going to be done as the writer at some point.
I do not know. And what I'm finding here is either way, I mean, yeah, I want to see him continue because I like his writing. But if they want to bring in somebody else to do it, like okay, so you go back to IDW, you take the not Transformers, the Turtles, the IDW Turtles comics. Tom Waltz was the initial original writer for first 50 issues or so, and then by issue 51, or maybe it was later, or technically he was the writer for the first 100 issues. Issue 101, they tapped Sophie Campbell to take over the writing. I don't mind it because it's one universe, it's one whole thing, it's one whole story. Yes, Sophie's writing style is different than Tom's, but what IDW does with the Turtles comics is if they have like they had the micro series where you have separate issues, like character issues, like Raphael, Michelangelo, Splinter, like they would get different creative teams to write those kind of things, or they would Mateus Santaluco did the entire Secret History of the Foot Clan story arc in trade. So if Skybound and Image are doing something similar to that, I wouldn't mind that. But I think we need more than 6 issues of Daniel Warren Johnson. So we're gonna have to just wait and see for those April solicitations, whenever those are gonna come out.
Yeah, I don't. Again, I want to say that I read this somewhere, but maybe that's incorrect. I did
Mm-hmm.
watch one of his videos. I don't know if it's a commentary video. It
Mm-hmm.
was actually where he had a. I think this was something completely separate. He had like a live thing, which I know he's doing some commentary talking about the different comics, but he was also sort of doing some live drawing.
Yeah.
And I want to say that this was brought up as a topic of discussion, but maybe I'm
All right.
misremembering that.
I am not sure because, like I said, we won't know until the April solicits are out, and I don't think they're out yet. What I will say is what I found from T Formers, and I'm sure TFW has this too, but the Volume 1 trade paperback will be out May 7th, 2024, collecting issues 1 through 6, 16.99 USD price, and it's just the full trade paperback. I know we talked about that last time, but yeah, so that's going to be cool, and yeah, I'm just excited to see more from this, and I do hope that he does continue on with this. I mean, at least for 10 or so more, 20 or so more issues. I don't know. It depends on how because we're only at issue 3 right now, and issue 4 doesn't come out until whenever, uh, as of
Three
this
days.
recording. Yeah, 3 days. Oh, God, 3 days. Wow. Uh, you'll see us next weekend, folks, or you'll hear us next weekend then. No, just kidding. But I think we need to wait and see how the arc ends, because if the arc ends mean when the story arc ends and it doesn't leave it on a cliffhanger, maybe they will who knows? I don't know. I'm loving what he's doing so far. I want to see him continue. Whatever they end up doing, like I said, I'm all in. So
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm all in on this. Again, as someone who was not interested in comics at all, I've been
yep.
sucked into the Energon universe. So I mean, I've purchased all these comics. I've purchased all the Void Rivals. I've now
Yep.
been purchasing the GI Joe comics, including
Jones.
Duke
Yep.
Number One, which we
Yep.
can talk about at some point in the future. I am looking forward to the Cobra Commander
Yep.
series, which starts this month.
No, it's no. Yeah, that's right. Let's start this month.
Yep.
Did I, who was I? Was it you? I told about that. I forget. So I think it's going to be a limited series. I don't think it's going to. I think it's just going to be a mini series. I don't think it's going to be a full ongoing. But I think it was you. I told that I saw on Instagram one of the people behind the scene. Well, I don't know if it was Joshua Williamson or not, but they're like, oh, let's make it a horror story. Let's go into Cobra Commander's like horror aspect. I'm like, oh, really? Okay, so it's going to be a Transformers horror story, or not GI Joe horror story with Cobra Commander. So,
You know, I don't think you were talking to me about that. What we were talking about or discussing was so when Duke Number One came out, I
mm-hmm.
was talking with you about the fact that, like, how does this fit in with the
Yep,
ongoing Real American Hero series? And you said it doesn't. That's
yeah, it
completely
doesn't.
separate.
Yeah,
So I guess my question for you then is after Cobra Commander, because it looks like there's going to be 5 issues of this and 5 issues of Duke.
yep.
After those, are we getting like a completely separate GI Joe thing that's within the Energon universe, or
I'm pretty sure we would.
okay?
I
So
I, I don't know because I'm not. I don't want to speak for the. I'm like I said. I don't work there. I don't know.
right,
But just based off of what I've known for the last 10 and a half, 11 years of reading comics, usually what companies will do is if they are wanting to keep the legacy with Larry and all that and have that be separate outside the universe, which is more than fine. That's great. And then they want to because they want to have the like. I remember in that reel or that whatever on Instagram, they said something about how Transformers, Void Rivals, Duke, and Cobra Commander were going to be the 4 launching titles, and then something like things would come later down the line. And that's how anything usually starts. You usually launch with 1 or 2 things, and or 4 or whatever, and then you go down the line. Wherever it takes you is wherever it takes you. Transformers, I know, is an ongoing, so it will be ongoing as long as it will go. As far as starting a GI Joe ongoing, maybe they will. Maybe they will do just constant miniseries, and maybe Void Rivals is where everything kind of coalesces, because even though Void Rivals is its own story and its own characters, we've already seen characters from this and from other things show up in that. So
Yep.
maybe Void Rivals is the connective tissue. Maybe you don't need an Energon Universe G.I. Joe title, because you don't want to the last thing you want to do is overload comic readers with, oh my god, there's this comic, and this. And that was part of the thing that he said was, there's enough here for everybody individually. If you want to just read Transformers, if you want to just read this, and this, or if you want to read everything, you can do that too. So they are offering multiple things, of multiple ways of doing the Energon universe.
Right.
Of
Well,
course,
I will
us
say,
knowing the gluttons for punishment we are, we'll end up reading it all.
right. Right. So, like I said, I picked up Duke #1. We can discuss that at some point in the future when we talk about GI
Yep.
Joe. If you want to discuss GI Joe,
Sure. Yeah.
but what I will say is, so I did pick up a Real American Hero number 301, and now 302 is out. And I think we talked about this in the last episode.
Yep.
That 301 picks up exactly where 300 ended.
Yes.
But it's also sort of gives you like a very, very brief introduction of like what GI Joe and Cobra are at the beginning.
Yep.
But I have gone back and I've read a few of the IDW's a Real American Hero comics, and oh man, is the difference between the artwork very noticeable.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new stuff is got that very gritty feeling that the Transformers comics has. And it looks really good. And you go back at the IDW stuff, at least there at the end, and it's like it's very cartoony, and it does not, in my opinion, it doesn't fit the GI Joe franchise all that well. I think the grittiness of what we're getting now is kind of where it should be. Oh, and also, by the way, a Real American Hero, the storyline that's there, batshit crazy.
Yeah. Oh no, I know it is. Yeah, it's Larry Hama is no. Again, I'm gonna have to get into that at some point, but yeah. So what I love looking at the multiple printings here, and the cool thing about multiple printings is, if you're a cover person for comics and you like collecting for the covers, oh my god, they have everything. So we've got Void Rivals #1 getting an alternate cover for its second printing. We've got #6 getting an alternate cover. Transformers #1's alternate cover is Optimus holding his gun facing somebody down with... Is that... Okay, that better be Optimus's... Okay. Are you looking at this?
I am not presently, no.
All right. So on this cover, it's got Optimus standing in the foreground, but underneath him, it's got, I think that's him in his trailer mode, or unless it's Motormaster, because no, it's probably Optimus. I don't know. It's weird, but it's an alternate cover. We're getting another alternate cover for issue 2, where it's RC basically spin kicking or roundhouse kicking Rumble and Frenzy. That's awesome. And I hope to God, Daniel Warren Johnson, if you're going G1, Rumble better be purple, Frenzy better be black, because no. And then the other alternate cover for issue 3 is Skywarp character portrait, like was done with the other ones. So it's just Skywarp with the Decepticon symbol behind him on white, which I love that. I think that's cool. Just as a second print cover of just giving us a good character shot of the drawing of Skywarp and just the Decepticon symbol, that's fun. Oh, and then #3 also has an Autobot version with Ratchet. That's awesome.
Yep. All right, so that's it on issues 2 and 3. Like I said, we've got issue #4 coming out in 3 days as of this recording.
Yep. Like I said, we'll see you next weekend, folks.
So I guess speculation. How do you think they're gonna save Spike?
I don't know.
And you don't think it's the Matrix?
I don't think it's the Matrix. I hope to God it's not Frankenstein, because we do not need another Dad. Look what they did to me, Dad. Oh my God.
That's a pretty good impression.
No.
Autobot Spike. Yep.
No. We do not need another Autobot Spike. Please, no.
I still think, like, if they did the Matrix, however that might work, that would at least get the Matrix like out of the way. Then the joke's gone.
Yeah.
They can move on to something else. But I guess I don't know, unless like Ratchet could do some sort of surgery. I don't know.
I assume. I mean, they gave Jessica legs in the cartoons, so I mean, I don't know, dude. And honestly, I'm just happy just going in not knowing half the shit. Like,
Yeah.
look, I know the old saying is knowing is half the battle. Also, not knowing is the other half of the battle because you want to be surprised with what they're going to do. And the little blurbs that we get for solicitations, which they have to do, which is more than fine. It gets you, it's just like a little trailer kind of thing in words, whatever. I'm just excited for it. I can't wait. It's going to be so fun.
Yep. I think we talked about this in the first when we discussed the first issue, but I also want to throw
Hmm.
this out there again. I don't think he'll show up in this story arc, but when do you think Megatron will show up?
I'm hoping the second story arc, maybe, or maybe he doesn't show up until the third one. I don't know. I just need, again, because we're only 3 issues into the first arc out of the 6 that are going to happen.
Yep.
We don't know what's going to happen in issue 4, 5, and 6. I just love the pacing that it's going at so far. I love the character moments. I don't necessarily need Megatron. I get it. Starscream did something, or something happened in the past that we haven't seen yet. Yada yada yada. And I just want to get to know how Johnson is going to write these characters that we have in front of us.
Do you think he will show
Maybe. I don't know.
up?
I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. As far as I can tell, doesn't look like it, but you never know.
And I guess if he does, do you think Starscream will be gone?
No, because how? Okay, as a creative person, how could you not want to play with that dynamic? Like, how could you not want to play with Leader Megatron coming back and then Starscream, instead of being the total violent asshole that he is currently, turning into sniveling Chris? Megatron, I didn't mean to. Oh my god! Like, you want to see that in this comic. You know you want to, and you know that Daniel Warren Johnson maybe wants to write that. Maybe down the again. This is why I'm saying I don't know when, if at all, Megatron will show up. But how could a writer not resist doing that at some point down the line?
Maybe he'll splinter off and take his own set of Decepticons.
Maybe.
I guess anything can happen.
Anything could happen.
All right, so plugs. What do you got to plug
Plugs. Oh,
other than an outlet?
uh, uh, parenthood is just really settling in for you, huh, dad joke, dude? Oh boy. Geekcastradio.com. We've got comics, cartoons, origins, all kinds of episodes, podcasts, and other things. We're doing all kinds of stuff. I am going to be going insane this year because I'm going to be doing something I've never done with the pull bag. I'm going to attempt at some point this year to do 90 nights of Nightwing, so it'll be daily episodes.
And he'll be
I
doing
don't know
those
how.
live.
No, hell no. What are you, crazy? No, it will be recorded, produced, and then published. Hell, recorded, edited, and then no live.
I would still like to do a 24/7, or not 24/7, a 24-hour
Mm-mm-mm-mm.
type live thing where it's raising money for a charity of some sort. But at this point, right, that many people are on my YouTube channel. So
Go to his YouTube channel, folks. YouTube.com/matrix underscore or /matrix prime.
nope, Matrix underscore Prime. Yep.
I was right for. Oh,
Yeah,
God, I forgot.
youtube.com/matrix underscore prime. The problem is I don't put out the content I used to put out. So
Used to
I'm not
put
getting
out.
the
Yeah.
eyes, I'm not getting the views, and I don't play into the YouTube algorithm. So occasionally when I have something to throw up there, I do. Like yesterday,
Yeah.
for example, I threw up a video of me in VR. So if you want to check that out, that's one of my
Nice.
only, I think, YouTube shorts on there. So you can check that out. You can also find me on Blue Sky. I'm at Jesse Early. That's JESSEEARLEY.BSKY.social. One other thing I wanted to talk about with you briefly, because
Mhm.
you and I talked about this, the accessibility issue with the letters at the end of the comics.
Yeah.
I did bring this up. Like I sent a note to, I saw that you sent a message as well. I sent a note to Image Comics on Blue Sky. Never
Yeah.
received a response or anything back. I don't know if you ever
I don't.
did, but I'm
I don't
curious
think
to
I
see if
did.
it changes in the future.
I hope it does because I completely skipped the letters page. Like
Which is
I
unfortunate
do.
because there's a lot of good information in there.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so for those of you that don't know what we're talking about here, in at least in the issue number 3, if I can get to it. The color of the text, both the questions as well as their responses, against the color of the background on there, essentially makes the pages unreadable.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at it now,
So
and
it's like gold. Some of it's faint gold. Some of it is like a bold gold, but it's against a
white
background that's
background.
got like a it's almost got like a yellow hue or tint to it. I think it's like a white background with some lines on there, but it's got like a yellow hint or hue to it. So it
Yeah,
pretty much makes it unreadable. And as someone who works with accessibility in my position that I work in, professionally, I look at color contrast quite a bit, and this does not
yep,
pass.
yeah,
So
no,
it makes it very hard to read, even for like I don't have any accessibility issues, I guess you want to say, when it comes to being able to read. I'm not colorblind or anything like that. But in
yeah.
looking at these colors, right, because of the way the color contrast is, it's very
Hmm.
hard even for myself to read it. So
So, as someone who is legally blind, I have to zoom in on that. Like, I can't just like if I had this as a physical issue, I would have to have this less than 2 inches away from my face to read these words. But with the digital version, at least I can zoom in, and if I zoom in, the lettering is fine. But as just a page look, like just trying to read the page, if it was a physical comic, I would not be able to read this without it being 2 inches away from my face in issue three. And I'm sure issue two is the same way. I would have to look at it really quick. Let's see. Issue two has the, yeah, issue two. So issue two is blue on the border, and it's white with dark blue and then teal responses for, yeah, no, they need to work on this big time. Like, they, like, I love the actual design of it, that it looks like a file card page as far as like how the border goes and everything else, but they need to like just do black text, or white text on black background, or what. This is bad.
yeah,
Again, this is why and this is one of the reasons why I'm happy that usually I'm reading for the pullback over on geekcastradio.com. This is why I read in trade, because the trades don't need the letters stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, no,
I mean, I've got issue 3 pulled up here. It's zoomed out, right? So it's just whatever
yep,
size it is inside of my web browser. And I'm like a foot and a half away from my screen, and it just looks like a bunch of jumbled letters. If I click on
yeah,
the button to, again, I'm looking at this through the Kindle app, but if I click on the
yep,
zoom in button, right, it blows everything up. I can read it, but it's still very
yep.
hard to read because of the color of the text on top of whatever they're using for that background.
They got to do better with that. They really do. They got to change that up, because the whole point of having a letters column and a letters section in your individual issues is so people can write in, get responses, and so others that haven't written in can actually read the letters issues. Like,
Right. Yeah, I guess
no,
they have the same sort of issue on the very, like, inside the cover on that first
yep.
page where it says like try to read issue 3 up there, Transformers issue 3. Can you read issue 3 in that
Let's
box?
see. You're talking about at the beginning,
Very beginning, yep.
or at the beginning of the comic, right?
Yep,
Or the
so just
beginning of the
open it
letters?
to like the first page, and over on the left
Alright.
it's like the
Yeah, that I can. So I'm holding my phone away from my face. I can see Energon and read Energon Universe. I can read Transformers. I can read Daniel Warren Johnson. I can't read what, like,
right writer
like without
artist.
zooming in, like writer artist. I wouldn't be able to read that because it's in blue. But yeah, no, I can read part of
Well,
that.
do you even see issue 3 underneath Transformers? It says issue 3.
No. Oh shit. No. Not without. Wow. No.
Yeah,
Don't. Mm.
it's like
Come on,
white
Image Comics.
lettering.
Come on, Sky. Yeah, it's white lettering on the. Wow.
It's horrible.
This is bad.
Yeah,
This is really bad. They, like, again, I like the design of it, but the accessibility and the read. You guys got to do better, Skybound. Come on, Image.
yeah,
Let's go.
yep,
Do better, because that's I didn't even know. Like, Transformers. Okay.
yeah, yeah. I was wondering if like you could see issue 3 because it's
No.
very hard to see.
Yeah, it's very hard to see.
So, all right, yeah, that's just kind of a little tangent I want to go on there for a second. So,
Yep.
all right, so I think that's it. Unless you got anything else.
I don't think so.
All right, well then, I guess till next time. This is Jesse,
I'm Mike.
and we're signing off.